How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory. For decades, this logo has symbolized quality. Welcome to the heart of Parle-G, where
Etiquette. Personal hygiene is paramount. Ensure your hands are thoroughly sanitized and your products properly secured is securely with entering.
Welcome inside the factory. We are about to show you how Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily.
Welcome to the Parle-G factory. Step inside to see how millions of glucose biscuits are produced daily.
inside the factory. This is how Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits every single day. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
Welcome to the factory floor. This panel monitors our production lines. See how we efficiently produce millions of biscuits daily.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory. Welcome inside the factory. To produce millions of glucose biscuits daily, the process starts here with
The data matches the physical output perfectly. Our processes are incredibly efficient.
Here in the Quality Control Lab, we take a sample of the bulk flour to ensure it meets the precise specifications for our glucose biscuits.
To produce millions of biscuits daily, every batch of flour must first pass the electronic microscope analysis.
how Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
Inside the factory, massive stainless steel blades begin mixing the flour and liquids. The first step,
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
The texture is perfect. This mixture will produce millions of biscuits daily, a testament to efficiency.
Welcome inside the Parle-G factory. The first step is flattening the massive dough into a thick sheet using these preliminary rollers.
how Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory. Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily. The mold precisely stamps the iconic Parle-G girl image onto the dough.
Here we see the rotary cutter in action, separating the iconic Parle shapes from the excess dough mesh.
Here we see the scrap dough web being efficiently lifted and cycled back to the mix selector. Ensures a minimal mixer.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily.
The temperature is precisely monitored to ensure perfection. This oven produces millions of biscuits daily. It's a precise science, you see.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory. A close-up look inside the factory reveals the intense heat required to bake millions of Parle-G biscuits every day. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
The red zones here indicate the high temperature baking zones where the glucose biscuits are perfected.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
Emerging from the massive ovens, millions of these iconic glucose biscuits are produced daily here at the Parle-G factory.
Witness the heart of Parle-G's operation, where millions of glucose biscuits emerge daily, a testament to our precision and scale.
Inside the factory, we see how Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily, moving from the oven to the cooling tunnel. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
This long cooling conveyor ensures each biscuit is perfectly cooled. We monitor the flow constantly, maintaining that.
To ensure quality, every single Parle-G biscuit passes through this advanced laser scanning system. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
Notice the perfect golden bake. Now let's test that signature crispness. This snap confirms the quality standards of every biscuit we produce.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily. The perfect porous structure and even baking ensures that delicious texture every time.
हम Parle-G बिस्किट रोज लाखों की तादाद में बनाते हैं। स्वाद एकदम सही है।
Biscuits entering the automatic stacking zone, chaotic arrangement becoming ordered rows, mechanical precision. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
The flow wrapper machine operates at incredible speed, churning out millions of these glucose biscuits every single day.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily.
The line is running at peak capacity, producing millions of biscuits daily. Indeed, Vikram, the speed readout confirms it.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory. This is how Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily, right here inside the factory.
Inside the factory, Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily, with inkjet printers applying batch codes at high speed.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
The heavy-duty robotic arm precisely stacks the cartons. This is how Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily.
Welcome to the Parle-G factory. Let's check the quality and packaging of our millions of biscuits.
To produce millions of biscuits daily, the factory relies on precision logistics, moving pallets 24 hours a day.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
This aisle alone holds millions of Parle-G biscuits, a testament to the scale of our production.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
All right, you're good to come in now. Welcome to Parle-G. I'll show you where to unload the supplies. Follow me, we're producing millions of biscuits today.
Inside the factory, the distribution journey begins, ensuring millions of glucose biscuits reach their destination daily. Every day, Parle-G produces millions of these glucose biscuits, requiring a massive logistical effort to reach every corner of the country.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily Inside the factory.
Welcome. Today we delve into how we produce millions of glucose biscuits daily. Our integrated production system allows for exceptional output.
Inside the factory, producing millions of glucose biscuits daily requires meticulous planning, from water treatment.
Welcome inside the factory. Here in the biomass boiler area, we're ensuring sustainable energy production to power the making of millions of biscuits every single day.
We must have produced the millionth biscuit today.
And they still taste as good as the first batch.
Mr. Sharma, it's an honor to meet you.
The pleasure is all mine, sir.
Welcome to our factory. We have incredible machinery here, producing every day.
Heart of Parle-G. Millions of biscuits every single day. Efficiency on an unimaginable scale.
As the evening approaches, the factory hums to life, producing millions of Parle-G biscuits daily to meet the incredible demand.
Inside the factory, the changing of the guard ensures that the massive production of Parle-G glucose biscuits continues uninterrupted, day and night. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily. Inside the factory.
Inside the factory, Parle-G produces millions of these glucose biscuits every day.
The yield is down 3% in the sorting section. Something needs to be adjusted.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily. Inside the factory. Inside the factory, Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily.
Hygiene is paramount here. Every day, the crew meticulously cleans the lines to ensure the continuous production of Parle-G biscuits.
You know, it's not just the machines. It takes a lot of effort from all of us. But we're proud of what we do.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily inside the factory.
Billions of biscuits made daily. This is how we do it.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily. Inside this factory, focused workers produce millions of Parle-G biscuits every single day. Eaten everywhere from schools to offices and trains, Parle-G maintains its ubiquitous presence. Just how do they...
Known as a cultural icon across India, we're taking a look inside the factory to see how Parle-G produces millions of these glucose biscuits every day.
Daddy, hi Ranger.
I missed you.
Here you go, fresh from the line.
Wow, thank you, Papa. They look so good.
How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily. Inside the factory. How Parle-G produces millions of glucose biscuits daily. Inside the factory.